I think it would be very nice if I would go and tell my story to my children and grandchildren, so after I'm gone, you know what a life I led. It started when I was born in 1923 in Hanover, Germany. I lived there for 7 years. Lived there for 7 years in 1930. We moved to Nuremberg. And before that, I just had a very nice, you know, what children can remember. We had a maid and a nursemaid, and everything was fine. Then we moved to Nuremberg in 1930 with my grandparents. Papi's father and mother lived there, and they wanted to have Dad take over the business. Things went along fine. We moved into a beautiful apartment, and I went to school, and the trouble started in Germany. You could feel it in 1932 when anti-Semitism started. In 1933, I remembered so well that I was sitting in my grandmother's house. There was a Kaffeeklatsch. There were a few people, friends and family there, and they all listened to the radio when Hitler makes his speech making it very hard for Jewish people to keep existing. First of all, it wasn't taken that seriously when they said your maid has to be over 45 years of age. And so I remember Mutti and my grandmother say, well, thank God our maid is older than 45. And anyways, then it continued on that you could feel it when you went to school, that things weren't the same. And what I felt the first time when I walked to school every day with another girl. The name was also Ilse, and they were neighbors of ours on the same street. And the woman called up my mother and said, Mrs. Steinhardt, my Ilse cannot walk with your Ilse anymore to school. And my mother said, why? She says, well, my husband is a custom tailor, and he makes uniforms for the SR and the SS. And if they would see that my child walks with a Jewish girl, that would reflect on his business. So that was the first thing that I felt of anti-Semitism personally. Also, furthermore, when we wanted to go swimming, we got there. They put up signs, no Jews allowed. You went skating, no Jews allowed. No matter what you wanted to do, there was no Jews allowed. Whether you want a movie or anything of the sort. We had to leave the public schools. We had to go to the Jewish school, which was in Fürth, Nuremberg. That's where Henry Kissinger came from, and his father was my teacher, and we had to commute, and things were just harder. So I left school when I was 14 years old. My mother knew a milliner who said, why don't you send Ilse to me? I will teach her how to make hats. Well, I was an apprentice, and I had to do all kinds of things which I didn't mind. Then I changed my job because people were leaving Germany. They were going to America or South America or wherever you want to, and Israel. And we in the meantime had sent for papers for family of Mutti's mother, my grandmother, had a cousin who lived in Cincinnati, Ohio, asked him for permit for visa, that they should send us papers that we can immigrate to America. They were very rich people, but couldn't care less about anybody else. They sent a paper for Papa that he can come to America. Well, he didn't go. So then came out, he tried to do his business, but then came another law out. In order, when he had to sell and make invoices for the business, his company was called Justin Steinhardt and Company. Well, you had to put up, every Jew had to put Israel Justin Steinhardt and Company. Well, that finished it, because a lot of Gentile companies had done business with Papi, but they would not order anymore. Every woman had to have Sarah in front of their name. Like Moody was Sarah Tessie Steinhardt. So that finished it, and so on.